Welcome back, dear viewers. Today's story has shaken every corner of the internet. This isn't a rumor planted by a publicist, a clever ad strategy, or a staged rehearsal. It is the raw confession of a man who usually looks impenetrable on camera, steady, untouchable, always composed. And yet last night, during a live broadcast, Yaman couldn't keep the flood inside. In front of thousands, his voice gave way to something unguarded and painful, and from that second on, nothing has felt the same. He didn't cry for show. He wasn't begging for sympathy. He let the curtain fall on his heart, and it hurt to watch because it felt real. Now everyone is asking the same questions. After such an admission, can love be rebuilt? What is happening behind the scenes with Demet Özdemir, and how did she react the moment the stream ended? And later, what was in the mysterious letter that surfaced and set the fanbase on fire? Before we get swept into this emotional storm, remember that you're watching Secrets Behind the Stars. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. If you love deep, character-driven storytelling, consider tapping join and becoming part of our community. Alright. Let's begin. The live stream began like any other. Ken appeared relaxed, handsome in that effortless way we know too well, discussing his new theater project and trading jokes with the audience. The chat raced by. He answered questions with his usual charm and a quick, confident grin. Everything felt routine, right up until a viewer typed a deceptively simple question that sliced through the lightness of the night and rerouted the whole vibe. Do you miss Demet? In the space of a breath, Ken went still. The smile we've seen 1,000 times vanished as if it had been erased by an unseen hand. His eyes drifted away from the lens and settled somewhere distant, somewhere memory pulls you when you don't want to go. The silence that followed was heavy, almost louder than speech. It stretched, a beat longer, and then another. When he finally spoke, his voice didn't sound like the one we hear in interviews. It was unsteady, smaller than usual. Yes, he murmured. I miss her every single day. Those few words detonated online. And he didn't stop there. He went on, slowly, carefully, to admit to the things he never speaks about publicly, his mistakes. He said he didn't know how to truly listen. He didn't know how to look at her with the presence she deserved. He admitted he failed to protect what they had. While Demet kept trying to stitch them back together, he admitted he hid behind packed schedules, filming days that ran deep into the night, and the constant hum of publicity. There were days she asked me to actually talk, to ask for help, to go to therapy, he confessed. I didn't make the time. I thought love could patch everything on its own. I was wrong. People watching could see him swipe his sleeve across his eyes. Clips flooded Twitter within seconds. The moment was sliced and posted to stories, repeating across Instagram like an echo in a canyon. Fans couldn't decide if they were moved or furious or just heartbroken. Many felt all three. Then came the part that made everyone hold their breath. He told the story of the day they broke. He described standing in the doorway, hearing a sentence from Demet that has never stopped ringing in his mind, a line that felt like a door closing softly and irrevocably. I can't keep loving on my own. Then she left. Let's pause here for a moment. How many relationships collapse not for lack of love, but because one person runs out of fight? Is a confession like his enough to rebuild trust, or is it simply a late apology taped to a broken wall? Tell us what you think in the comments. Your voice shapes the conversation on this channel. Now, about Demet. Publicly, she has been quiet. But people close to her say she watched. A friend insists she didn't expect him to say any of that in front of the world. She was shaken, deeply. And yet, she didn't know how to feel. The story goes that she closed herself off at home for hours afterward, overwhelmed by the sudden rush of what they were and what they stopped being. Part of her, this friend claims, believes last night was the first time he was exactly, painfully honest. The other part fears the cruel clock they both ignored. Maybe it's simply too late. Ken also revealed on the live that he isn't alone these days. That he has been building a new life, with new rhythms. And yet somehow, Fate keeps pulling him back into the same orbit, into the same emotional gravity with Demet. The confession ended. The stream cut. The internet burned for hours. And when the frenzy began to settle, Can posted something on Instagram that made the ground shake again. It was a black and white photograph, a folded letter on a wooden table, beside a cup of coffee gone cool halfway through. No faces, no names. Just the intimacy of paper and ink and waiting. And beneath it, a single line, "Don't come back to me, just let me know you still exist." If the live confession was a match, that caption was gasoline. Fans went wild. What letter? From whom? What did it say inside? Shortly after, a journalist known for her connections in the industry claimed the letter was very real, delivered to Can's place by a private courier. The handwriting, she suggested, was unmistakably familiar to him. Rumor has it Demet read it more than once before deciding whether to send it. And suddenly, the fandom turned into detectives. People noticed that certain profiles were quietly unfollowed. Playlists revealed the same melancholy songs spinning on repeat on both their accounts, nothing overt, but the kind of small digital footprint that makes you wonder. A mutual friend was seen leaving a cafe with a to-go cup late at night, the kind of understated exit that fans, hungry for clues, instantly flagged as important. Coincidence? Possibly. But the collective decided it wasn't. The atmosphere now is taut. Can has pulled back from public view. His team says he's emotionally spent, walking that narrow ledge between saying too much and saying nothing at all. He's terrified of hurting her one more time. He's terrified of being misunderstood. But he's also terrified of staying silent and watching her walk away forever. Meanwhile, Demet holds all the cards. She decides what happens next. Some supporters are pleading for a reconciliation, one last chance, one clean slate. Others argue she deserves serenity over old pain, that peace is worth more than nostalgic love. It's a tug-of-war, and every new whisper shifts the rope a little. What gave his tears their force last night was not theatrics, it was recognition. He said out loud what many keep buried: sometimes you only understand the weight of someone's presence after you've lost the right to carry it. Let's talk about the letter again, because it's impossible to ignore how carefully it was framed. A letter folded neatly, a coffee that suggests someone sat with their thoughts long enough for warmth to fade. That caption, "Don't come back, just tell me you're still out there," reads like the plea of a person who no longer expects rescue, only proof that what once mattered hasn't turned to smoke. It's a request for evidence of existence, not a demand for return. And maybe that's why it struck such a nerve. Insiders whisper that Demet's first instinct after watching the live was to turn off her phone, to wrap herself in silence. The next morning, though, she reopened the wound in a measured way, playing voice notes he sent her long ago. The friend who shared this added that Demet has changed a lot since they split. She listens to herself now, not to the swell of public opinion. That makes this moment both fragile and powerful. We also can't gloss over the small confession tucked into the live stream: he's not alone anymore. He has been trying to live differently, to build routine, to meet the day with a softer step. That revelation stirred a different kind of debate. Some say you can't ask for a second chance while standing in a new chapter. Others argue that acknowledging a current life doesn't erase the past, and that accountability is still accountability, even if you've moved forward in some ways. It complicates the fairy tale path back. Maybe that's exactly the point: this isn't a fairy tale. There's an image people keep revisiting from last night. Can's hand halfway to his face, stopping and then committing, brushing at tears as if they surprised him by their own courage. A man famous for control, for an image honed and polished, letting the veneer crack. Not broken, just honest. Fans clipped it, slowed it down, set it to music, argued over what the gesture meant. Pride surrendering? Or finally, a heart admitting it can't carry pride and love at the same time. In the days since, those who refuse to believe in coincidence have catalogued every thread. They noticed Demet's friend liked a quote about hard conversations. They saw Can's publicist post a single white heart. They swore the same lamplight shows up in 2 different late-night photos from 2 different accounts. The truth could be simple: separate moments, separate lives. But the allure of a pattern is hard to resist. If you've been with Secrets Behind the Stars for a while, you know we don't sell fantasies. We sit in the complicated, we listen to the quiet parts. And the quiet part here is that Demet has earned the right to choose without being rushed by a timeline she didn't write. Her silence doesn't mean indecision. It means care. So where does this leave us? With a letter that might be hers, a caption that sounds like a heartbeat under a door, and a man standing in the aftermath of his own confessions. With a woman who understands her value and the cost of stepping back into a story that once left her out in the cold. With a fandom divided, hope on one side, healing on the other, and no easy villain to blame. Sometimes the hardest thing is admitting that love wasn't the problem, timing was. Or habits were. Or the refusal to ask for help. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't returning, but forgiving without re-entering. And sometimes the bravest thing is walking back in and asking someone to learn you all over again. Here's the million-dollar question for all of you: if you were in Demet's place, would you read that letter to the end and offer one more chance? Or would you close the door gently, lock it for good, and walk toward a quieter future? Tell us below. Your voice matters here. If this story found a tender place in you, please give this video a big like, subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars for the next chapter of this real-life drama, and consider joining our channel to support the work it takes to bring you thoughtful updates. Keep watching this space for more. As for Can and Demet, their story isn't finished. Not yet. There's a final thought we can't shake. The line that began everything last night was a question tossed into a stream: do you miss her? It reminds us how sometimes a relationship's fate hinges on the questions we're brave enough to ask, and the answers we're brave enough to speak aloud. He answered. Now the next move belongs to her. Between them lies a folded page, a cooled coffee, and all the words that were never said when there was still time. Whether that page opens to a new beginning or closes as a keepsake is something only they can decide. Until then, we'll be here, listening for the quiet parts, waiting for the truth to show up, and hoping that whatever happens next, it leads them both to the place they each deserve, a life that feels like home.